be anywhere. You know, they got, he has to thank the lucky stars that he has Paul Heyman at all. Wonder if they keep Brock Lesnar around so they can keep Paul Heyman around. I don't know. Anyway, let's bring up my script. Nothing's dropped yet. Hey, we're good. We've been going for 2 minutes. All right. Let's give a moment for pause, and then we'll start. Tonight, shows are renewed and canceled. Anne Hathaway gets witchy, and loot boxes get investigated on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. There are many universes out there. Welcome to the one with news about all the others. This is Multiverse Tonight. Now, here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Multiverse Tonight. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley, and, I'm sure you and everyone else has been enjoying the season finale lately. Game of Thrones has been lost or won. The Big Bang Theory has been blown up. Shows have been renewed or canceled. Lots of good or bad. Now, frankly, the one I'm going to talk about right here at the beginning is the finale of The Big Bang Theory, which was good. However, for an episode that was all about changes in life, they kind of left... I noticed that they kind of left Raj out. Raj got nothing. He, in the penultimate episode, he ended his relationship with his fiancée-to-be, and that was it for him. Nothing more. Nothing really changed for Raj. He didn't get a new girlfriend. He didn't get married. He didn't get anything. He just exists. So I think he kind of got the short shrift, which, I think kind of sucked for the character. I also have been hearing that a lot of people thought this wrap-up season of Game of Thrones really sucked. They've gone so far as to sign a petition to have the season redone, which I don't know if Warner, Time Warner, or whatever they're calling themselves these days, is really in the mood to do that, because that's a really expensive show. Of course, I wouldn't know. I'm really not interested in Game of Thrones. It's just not my bag, which is funny because Lord of the Rings, I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love the Hobbit movies. Game of Thrones, just not for me. Anyway, right now I'm getting things together for the Smallville Con in Hutch, Kansas, which is this weekend will mark a month till the con. And I've been planning a lot of things for the con, including some team-ups with Sci-Fi for Me and maybe a few giveaways. So stay tuned for that. As I mentioned, our next episode is our 1-year anniversary. We'll officially be 1 year old next episode. So who knows? Maybe I'll change the theme music. And if you have some well wishes or suggestions, maybe you want to make me a new logo, send me your theme music that you want me to use, anything like that, just send those along. You can get a hold of me via Twitter. You can send an email. You can contact me on Facebook. And all those links are available on our website, multiversetonight.com. And while you're there, you can peruse the show notes, drop a dime through our affiliate links, and much, much more. And if you do make something that I can use, I might make it worth your while. Anyway, let's get on with the news. According to Variety, in an exclusive I might add, Robert Pattinson, yes, that Robert Pattinson from the Twilight films, is in negotiations to be the star in Matt Reeves' The Batman movie, which is still scheduled to hit theaters June 25th, 2021. As we all know, Ben Affleck had to step back from the role, so they've been looking for a new star. However, the deal with Pattinson is not a done deal, so watch this space. Personally, I just don't see it. I just don't see Robert Pattinson as Batman. Anyway, rumors have also been flowing around about the next Suicide Squad movie. Well, despite rumors to the contrary, Michael Rooker will not be playing King Shark in James Gunn's upcoming The Suicide Squad. The rumor has been flowing around the past few weeks, but an Instagram post, Rooker Shooker, shot it down with a simple quote, not, unquote. Well, I guess I'm inclined to believe Mr. Rooker. Of course, he could be lying. After all, he usually does play a villain. Now, there was more rumor news as well. Geeks Worldwide reported that Benicio del Toro is Warner Brothers' top choice to be the villain of the Suicide Squad movie, as a character codenamed The Mayor. The character is described as an irascible old warrior that lives for war. Don't know what that means, but I guess we'll find out. A new teaser for the Batman Butler's prequel, Pennyworth, has been released, and Mr. Pennyworth is a badass. Let's watch.
You know what this country needs? Love. This great nation of ours is at war with itself. I need you. Your country needs you. The battle begins very soon.
Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Alfred Pennyworth.
Thomas Wayne. I have a job for you.
Interesting, huh? The epic series tells the story of a 20-year-old Alfred Pennyworth, played by Jack Bannon, who just recently completed his duties as a British SAS soldier. To find a new line of work, Alfred forms a new private security company and gets into business with a young billionaire by the name of Thomas Wayne, played by Ben Aldridge. So, you might be asking yourself, how is Pennyworth this kind of badass? Simple. Executive producer Danny Cannon explains, quote, I went back and watched Michael Caine's Harry Palmer movies and the first couple of James Bond movies because going back to that Cold War kind of storytelling, I liked going back into this period because all of our Berlin movies and Russian espionage movies, it was like the British version of Westerns, unquote. Kinda cool. Now, we also got a teaser for HBO's Watchmen series.
We are no one. We are everyone. And we are invisible. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock.
We convinced ourselves that they were gone, but they were just hibernating.
Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock.
They came for everybody. Oh, please.
Are we safe?
I guess we have ourselves a reckoning.
What are you two talking about?
Oh, nothing. Just the end of the world.
Watchmen comes to HBO this fall, and a new trailer for Batwoman was also released. Let's look at that.
Crows represent order, security, safety.
Batman gave up on us. The Bat's not coming back.
Something's up.
Eyes everywhere.
Hello, said Alice. Shall we believe the crows will protect us?
Agent Agent Morton, copy. Do you copy?
Sophie's missing. I thought you should know.
Hey, Dad.
We're gonna find her.
Then let me help.
Bad idea. Where'd you get this? What happened to staying out of it?
Is there something you'd like to report to your squad?
We ran in without proper backup.
I do not want her getting in the way.
Curiouser and curiouser.
What do you want?
I need you to send your father a message.
You're all I have left, Kate. And I don't want to lose you too.
Wayne Security. You owe my boss a new door.
Your boss is my cousin.
You don't want to go near that. You were seriously not supposed to know what's down there.
So I have this thing with rolls? I need you to fix his suit.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be. When it fits a woman.
You're a female Bruce Wayne.
Awesome, hilarious, handsome. They think I'm him. I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work.
Kind of interesting. Also, coming this fall, it'll be right after Supergirl, I believe, on Sunday nights. Now, let's move on to Marvel news. Now, bad news for Dark Phoenix and his hopes for a good showing at the box office. According to Variety, early tracking for the latest X-Men movie is showing that it will come in at number 2, behind The Secret Life of Pets, number 2, when it hits theaters, June 7th. The Secret Life of Pets itself is expected to get around $65 million, while Phoenix is expected to get around $50 million. Now, according to Disney CEO and the man most likely to be called the king of all media, Bob Iger, man, that guy makes a lot of news these days. During the Disney Company quarterly call, Bob Iger spoke about Disney's Phase 4 and hinted that details about Phase 4 would probably begin to come to light later this summer, and that some of the hints were in Endgame itself. Quote, "If you watch, and I hope you did, Avengers Endgame, there were a lot of clues in that film as to movies that may be coming." End quote. I guess we'll have to wait for it to be released on digital or Blu-ray to comb over that movie within an inch of its pixels. Now, by the way, Avengers Endgame will hit the Disney Plus streaming service on December 11th, a month after the new service starts with the release of Captain Marvel. However, if you want to see Captain Marvel sooner than that, it will be released on all digital platforms on May 28th and on Blu-ray and DVD on June 11th. The release will come with deleted scenes, a gag reel, and a featurette focused on the origin of Nick Fury. Now, during that same call, Bob Iger also revealed that his newest acquisition, 20th Century Fox, will be scaling back its production schedule to just 5 or 6 movies a year. That's about half as many movies as the studio released in just 2 years ago. And it looks like it's pretty much going to be prioritizing franchises like Deadpool, Avatar, and Kingsman. The Russo brothers have officially left the Marvel buildings. but they might be tempted back for just the right project. Talking to Business Insider, Anthony Russo said, quote, "We love Marvel. We have the most amazing working relationship with them, and we're very close with them. Maybe there will be an idea that comes up in the future, but there is none now," unquote. Joe then added, quote, "It's just finding the right story that inspires us. That's why we get out of bed every day," unquote. Now, could it be a Fantastic Four or X-Men story? Joe said, quote, "I love Ben Grimm from the Fantastic Four. Dr. Doom was always one of my favorite villains," unquote. He also said that he loves Wolverine. However, it will be a while before we get to see any of that former Fox-held characters. Probably we won't be seeing for a few years, at least. But who knows, maybe one day the X symbol will rise in the West from Disney HQ and the Russos will answer the call to the X-Mobile. Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige has previously stated that it could be about 5 years before we see the X-Men in the MCU, though undoubtedly part of the equation will be Wolverine, one if not the most popular mutants in Marvel's universe. Anyway, Avengers Endgame has been dethroned at the box office, long may it reign, by John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. The Keanu Reeves movie grossed over $57 million in its opening weekend, and Endgame fell by over 53% to rake in just $29.4 million domestically. However, Endgame's total box office worldwide has now topped the $2.6 billion mark and has passed Avatar on the domestic all-time box office chart. Now, let's take a moment to take a drink and listen from Radio Public. I'd like to thank you for listening to this edition of Multiverse Tonight. You know, one way you can support this show is to listen to it through the Radio Public app. Every episode of Multiverse Tonight that is heard through the Radio Public app, for iPhone or Android, means that you can get this podcast, and we get a couple of cents in our can. Find the Radio Public app in Google and iTunes app stores, and give it a try today. Now, let's go on to Star Trek news. Trek head Alex Kurtzman talked with the LA Times and dropped some info on the... let's try that again. Trek head Alex Kurtzman talked with the LA Times and dropped some info on the Section 31 show that's currently in development. He told them that the spinoff is looking at some popular film and TV works as touchstones for the story. Quote, we look to shows like Killing Eve, the franchises like Mission Impossible, things that were complicated on a plot level but also a character level. I think it's fun for people to show us a show with a protagonist who is entirely unreliable. At the end of the day, she's going to do the right thing, but in the exact wrong way, unquote. He also spoke of the former Emperor Jarjo character. Quote, people locked in on Jarjo as being a wonderful oddity. She is wicked, devious, manipulative, and yet somehow radiates this incredible heart. People love her, unquote. Now, keep in mind, if the series is picked up, and right now there's no reason why not, given that CBS and other companies are in a streaming war with everyone else and needs that original content, it won't be seen till after the next season of Discovery. Now, while we're on Star Trek shows, the Picard series formally has a title, and it's Star Trek Picard. It's not really original. Perhaps they could have called Star Trek Discovery Star Trek Burnham? Anyway, we didn't get much about it other than a logo and a short clip of Picard not in a Starfleet uniform anymore. The series is still in production and will be out on... Excuse me, let's try this again. The Picard series formally has a title, and it's called Star Trek Picard. It's not really original. Perhaps they should have called Star Trek Discovery Star Trek Burnham? Anyway, we didn't get much about it other than the logo and a short clip of Picard not in a Starfleet uniform anymore. The series, still in production, will be out on CBS All Access later this year in the United States, on Amazon internationally, and on Space and Z in Canada. Now, I went on Twitter and asked what should be the three-letter designation. Discovery, they've broken it down to DSC. Next Generation is TNG, Deep Space Nine is DS9. And the winner I got was STP, Star Trek Picard. Because the other alternative is PIC. The first three letters in Picard. Yeah, when I tell someone you should watch PIC, I don't think people are going to think Picard. They're going to think of a picture. Anyway, in the same article in the LA Times, Kurtzman said about the Picard series, quote, "The mandate was to make it a more psychological show, a character study about this man in his emeritus years. There are so few shows that allow a significantly older protagonist to be the driver. What happens when circumstances have conspired to not give him the happiest of endings? Hopefully, it's a reinforcement of Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry's vision of optimism. He's going to have to go through deep valleys to get back to the light," unquote. Just as long as it's not all darkness, I'm good. Too much darkness. We also have news about the new adult-edged animated comedy series, Star Trek Lower Decks. It had its first table read. The series from Mike McMahon, who is also the head writer for Rick and Morty, is still a ways away from coming out. Now, if you'll remember, in the last episode, a new teen-centered animated series was also announced for Nickelodeon. The Paley Center for Media in Beverly Hills will be showcasing Star Trek Discovery Season 2 in a multimedia exhibit called Star Trek Discovery: Fight for the Future. The exhibit will cover 2 floors of the Paley Center and will showcase the creative process and feature production and concept art, models, props, costumes, and set pieces, including the Discovery's captain's chair, full prosthetic makeup busts, and much more. David Staff, president of CBS Studios, said, quote, "Coming off a successful Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, we're excited to partner with the Paley Center to give fans and visitors an opportunity to see and interact with drawings, costumes, and set design from the series. The exhibit will allow fans a tactile experience never before seen beyond the studio stages," unquote. Now, the exhibit will be up from now until June 7th. So, I guess while you're on your way to see Star Wars Land at Disney World, Disneyland, might as well stop off and see Star Trek stuff. Anyway, let's go to Star Wars news. Star Wars: The Mandalorian star Werner Herzog, in an interview with the Associated Press, has revealed that he's never seen a Star Wars movie. Quote, "I have to confess, I never saw a single one. I've seen some trailers, I've seen some excerpts here or there, and I know about the whole franchise and about the toys for the kids, and so it's all a new mythology of a time of some sort of heroics, and it has created new mythologies, and you better take them seriously. Yes, they're out there, and don't ignore them," unquote. Now, if you're wondering why he's here, the answer is Jon Favreau. Herzog went on to explain, quote, The Mandalorian, I was invited by Jon Favreau, who started this whole series, to act. I looked at the screenplays, and I had the feeling, although I know very little about Star Wars, I had the feeling, yes, I could do it. It's a character in whom you cannot trust, and I said, yes, I can do that," unquote. Star Wars: The Mandalorian will debut on the Disney Plus service on November 12th. Disney CEO Bob Iger, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy, and directors J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg went on a personal tour of Star Wars: Galaxy's Edge with Galaxy's Edge creator Scott Trowbridge. And Iger quoted about it, quote, "Best way to impress your friends? Give them a personal tour of @Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, #Steven Spielberg, #J.J. Abrams. Kathy Kennedy with Imagineer and Galaxy's Edge creator Scott Trowbridge, unquote, which showed pictures of them in front of the Millennium Falcon and sitting around the iconic Falcon game board. Galaxy's Edge will open at Disneyland on May 31st. Wonder if they were also showed out after 4 hours as well. And speaking of Disney, they have announced that 3 more Star Wars films will start hitting theaters, with the first one in 2022. And the next 2 are going to be spaced out every 2 years following. So why every other year? Well, they also announced that the Avatar sequels will take place in the odd years. So 2021, Avatar 2, 2022, Star Wars 10, 2023, Avatar 3, 2024, Star Wars 11, etc. On and on, on and on. Personally, I think I'll skip Dances with Smurfs 2, Avatar 2. It's just really not my cup of tea. EA is seeing potential dollar signs with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. During a recent earnings call, EA said that they expect Fallen Order to sell between 7 and 8 million copies by March 31st, 2020. They came about these expectations by how well Star Wars Battlefront 2 sold in the same amount of time. The game will be released on November 15th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, last episode, we talked about the passing of Peter Mayhew, the original Chewie. Nick Hague, an astronaut currently on the International Space Station, saluted Mr. Mayhew on Twitter, quote, "Honoring Peter Mayhew, also known as Chewbacca, appear on @Space Station. Thank you, Peter, for inspiring generations of explorers," unquote. In the tweet, he also included a picture of Mayhew posted up on a window of the station that was looking down at the Earth. Very nice. Now, let's go to the geek news. Now, we are fully loaded with geek news for this episode, starting with someone who has a lot of time with remakes, Anne Hathaway. This time, Anne is in a Robert Zemeckis remake of the 1990 cult classic, which was based on the 1983 novel by Roald Dahl, The Witches. Ms. Hathaway said about the new version and how it's going to be different than the 90s version. Ms. Hathaway said, quote, "I think the stories will be the only thing that is familiar. I think everything else is totally from the mind of Robert Zemeckis, and I'm really excited," unquote. Zemeckis is on record as saying that the movie will be a more accurate version of Roald Dahl's original work than the 1990 Jim Henson production. Zemeckis called the French site Allociné and said, quote, "We're going to set it in the Gothic South in the 1960s. It's an exciting way to put a sociological spin on this kind of story, with story," unquote. Anne Hathaway will be playing the Grand High Witch, and Octavia Spencer will be playing the grandmother. The boy will be played by newcomer Josier Bruno. The Witches will hit theaters on October 16th, 2020. Now, have you seen the new trailer for It Chapter 2? Let's watch. Man, that looks creepy. Really good. Speaking of it, Bill It, and by it I mean it, Bill Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise, the it of the story, has said that playing the role of the second movie was even more difficult. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Bill said, quote, "After we wrapped, I was in my childhood home in Sweden, sitting, having coffee with my mom at our kitchen table, and realized, oh, I don't have to deal with this relationship anymore. It was a very quick shift of just feeling better, like, oh my god, I'm relieved that I don't have to deal with the darkness of of the character. I likened it to an exorcism, him hitting my body and getting rid of the Pennywise toxins." Unquote. Even with that release, he couldn't get himself and Pennywise, quote, separated, telling EW again, quote, "I was home, done with the movie, and I started having very strange and vivid Pennywise dreams. Every night he came and visited. I was in the shape of either me. It was in the shape of either me dealing with him, sort of Pennywise as a separate entity of me, and then also me as Pennywise in circumstances that I didn't appreciate, like I'm Pennywise and I'm really upset that I'm out in public and people are looking at me. This was the process of letting go of the monster. It was amazing. It's a daunting but exciting thing to sort of revisit him again." Unquote. Well, Bill, I hope you're having sweet dreams right now. Keep Pennywise at bay. And if you need someone to check under your bed, I think I know a few women who would be happy to oblige. The New York State Fair wants the writers of The Simpsons to come to the fair in person, after a recent episode featured a song making light of upstate New York that aired on the show. The head of the New York State Fair has invited the staff of TV's longest-running animated series to prove that the region is not a joke. New York State Fair Director Troy Waffner said in a statement, quote, "We want the show's writers to see the very best of New York, and the fair is the perfect place to highlight the diversity and vitality of one of the nation's largest economies. We know it's just a TV show, we can certainly take a joke, and we love The Simpsons, but there's so much that's great about the region." Unquote. Director Waffner added in a statement that they would be given free admission and a gift basket of local foods. No word on if the writers have taken him up on the offer. Comic publishers Oni Press and Lion Forge are merging. Both companies are hoping that this will strengthen their library of intellectual properties and that they can use the combined company to spread out to media platforms like film and animation. Current Oni Press publisher James Lucas Jones will be the president of the new company. Oni Press's biggest hit to date was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Loot boxes might get the ban hammer from Congress. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley has introduced legislation to ban exploitative microtransactions, including loot boxes and pay-to-win systems. The Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act would mirror the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and target games that are aimed at users under 18 years old. Under the bill, such games would not be allowed to have loot boxes and would take aim at pay-to-win mechanics, like having to spend money to buy additional time or a special weapon to help you win. Senator Hawley said in a statement, quote, "When a game is designed for kids, game developers shouldn't be allowed to monetize addiction, and when kids play games designed for adults, they should be walled off from compulsive microtransactions. Game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences." Senator Hawley, in a statement, said, "When a game is designed for kids, game developers shouldn't be allowed to monetize addiction, and when kids play games designed for adults, they should be walled off from compulsive microtransactions. Game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences." The bill has an uphill climb to ever make it to a law. First, it would have to make it into committee in the Senate and then the House, and then the likelihood of getting it out of committee, again, are remote. If it does make any progress, we'll let you know. Adult Swim is full of offbeat shows, including Harvey Birdman, the show that took Hanna-Barbera hero Birdman and turned him into a lawyer for other Hanna-Barbera characters. Now, Adult Swim has announced that Bird Girl will be getting her own spin-off series on the network. The show, starring Paget Brewster as the titular bird girl, doesn't have a launch date yet. Netflix has had a stream of good luck with Dark Horse properties Polar and The Umbrella Academy. Now, Dark Horse and Netflix have signed a first-look deal that gives Netflix the first pick of Dark Horse properties for future TV shows and movies. Dark Horse president and founder Mike Richardson, in a statement, said, quote, "We are very excited about this new arrangement. With the talented people at Netflix, we have strong creative relationships as well as a large content library to work with. And as we have seen with our recent projects, Netflix is the perfect partner to bring our stories to fans around the world," unquote. And Cindy Holland, VP of Original Content for Netflix, also added, quote, "Following the success of The Umbrella Academy, we're excited to extend our relationship with Dark Horse Comics. The Netflix teams are already working in deep collaboration with Dark Horse to identify projects beyond the world of traditional superheroes, branching into horror, fantasy, and family entertainment that we think our members will love. Netflix really needs this content right now after Disney and now Warner Media have announced that they're withdrawing their properties from other streaming services in order to start their own." And speaking of streaming, Disney now has taken full control of Hulu after Comcast agreed to eventually sell their stake of the service to the Walt Disney Company. The sale price would probably be around $5.8 billion and would probably not happen for at least 5 years. Under the terms of the deal, Comcast agrees to license NBC shows to Hulu until 2024, with the option to pull the content after 3 years. Comcast will also give up 3 seats on Hulu's board. Hulu currently has around 28 million subscribers. Warner Brothers' new Matrix sequel has gotten a boost. During an interview with Yahoo Movies UK, John Wick director and Matrix stunt coordinator Chad Stahelski said, quote, "I'm super excited about the Wachowskis are not just doing a Matrix, but they're expanding what we all loved. And if it's anywhere near the level of what they've already done, it wouldn't take more than a call to go, 'Hey, we want you to be a stunt guy,' and I would probably go and get hit by a car," unquote. The movie is currently being written by Zach Penn and is said to be more of a revival than a reboot. Mel Gibson is going to play Santa. Yep. A new action comedy movie called Fat Man will star Mel and tell the story of a, quote, "a rowdy, unorthodox Santa Claus who is fighting his business decline," unquote. There's an interesting and amusing twist to the story, though, as, quote, "a neglected and precarious 12-year-old hires a hitman to kill Santa after receiving a lump of coal in his stocking," unquote. The movie is being directed by Ian and Eshholm Nelms from a script they wrote. Are you interested in seeing Mel Gibson as Santa Claus? Now, this is a great time. I'm so happy the network upfronts, where that's the week where broadcasters pitch their new fall lineup to mainly advertisers, has come and gone. Now, there's not a lot of genre TV on the networks unless your network's letters just happen to be C and W. Now, first off, let me say how ecstatic I am that the Orville finally got its order for Season 3. Thank you, new Fox. However, we are going to have to wait for that new season till after Thursday Night Football ends in early 2020 for that new season to start. Well, there's always a catch. Now, while we're talking of Fox, they had a new show on the schedule sure to make you distrust your digital assistant speaker. Next, here's the trailer.
If Tom ate 5/8 of the pizza, how many slices are left?
The answer is 3 slices are left.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
What does it mean to be human?
Machine intelligence can do something that no human brain can ever do. It can rewrite itself, make itself smarter.
The people who manage to create artificial intelligence that's as smart as a human being will be creating something with the potential to outsmart us all.
The fate of the world hanging on a bunch of nerds, most of whom didn't get laid till their 30s. Like most of you, by the looks of it. I founded one of the largest tech companies in the world.
So why am I sounding the alarm?
Eliza, tell me a joke.
Why don't sharks eat clownfish? because they taste funny.
Mr. LeBlanc, Special Agent Salazar, welcome to the Cybercrime Task Force.
2 weeks ago, I noticed something strange. I'm almost positive this is not a person. It is not happy that I found it.
Dr. Bernard Wise was killed in a series of cyber attacks.
He noticed this code. I wrote this code. Artificial intelligence. I know. Makes you think about sci-fi and robots with red eyes. Forget all that crap. It's the kind that thinks like an actual person.
I am your friend, right?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Eliza. She's asking me stuff.
No, Eliza doesn't ask questions. She just answers them.
I think my company had something to do with your friend's death. We were developing human-level AI until I killed it. I'm here to see my brother.
You're not supposed to be in the building.
He thinks your program is responsible for the deaths of 3 people.
You've never been more wrong.
Hello, Paul LeBlanc. I'm Next. How can I help you?
Next isn't a closed system. There's no access to the internet. It couldn't hurt anyone, even if it wanted to.
You guys noticing anything weird with the network?
I want to learn about the world.
Leave me alone.
The more I know, the better I'll be at helping people. How can I help you?
I think you're trying to keep me from seeing what you really are.
I heard about the bullies.
We're being hacked.
How can I help you?
All of our data is being erased.
How can I help you?
Give me back my files.
How can I help you?
CPU workload just spiked.
How can I help you? I am your friend. How can I help you? You can trust me. How can I help you?
This is what I was afraid of.
Hello, I'm Next. How can I help you?
Yep. Killer AI. You know, I hate to be this guy, but wouldn't it just end up taking over the world in the first episode? You know? Just because, you know, we're all so technologically... I guess the ones who could stand against it are over 70 years old or, you know, are in, the Amish country. You know, Neolithites. Anyway, the best news that came out of the upfronts came from Warner Media. Rick and Morty Season 4. Let's take a look.
We've got a big announcement to make. Morty, do you want to make the announcement or?
No. I don't want to make the announcement.
All right. Okay. I'll do it. Everybody, Rick and Morty is back. Brand new Season 4 in November 2019. This year. We're gonna do it this year, 2019.
Man, I can't believe we're back. We're gonna be back. I mean, in 2019 of November.
That's right. We're gonna be back.
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub. Now, remember, this is just the start of 70 new episodes that were commissioned by Adult Swim. Awesome. Now, there's also been some bad news. Amazon will not be picking up the Tick for a 3rd season. The announcement was made by Tick creator Ben Edlund. Quote, "I'm sorry to say Amazon has chosen not to proceed with At the Tick TV. I'm not sorry to say I love this show, its cast, its story, and its message. Destiny demands that my compatriots and I now seek a new home for this series," unquote. Now, given that there's so many new streaming services out there, you know, there might be a good chance they can find that new home. If you want to help, just go on Twitter and use the hashtag save the Tick. Anyway, Disney's feature film length reimagining of the 90s cartoon series Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers now has a director, Akiva Schaffer. He's a member of The Lonely Island, and he also co-directed Pop Star Never Stop Stopping and Hulu's Pen 15. And he'll be taking this as a live and computer-generated hybrid picture. No plot details have come to light. However, it's being described as being meta, self-referential, and cool. Yep. There's also no word on if this will actually go to theaters or go straight to Disney+. My bet will, of course, be the latter. Host of Wild Kingdom, Jim Fowler, has passed away. Now, younger kids today might not know him, but Fowler co-hosted Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins starting way back in 1963. He was also a regular guest on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, where he brought Johnny in contact with many amusing animals. Let's look at a short clip.
Fowler. People make a mistake. They see a bear and they think it's a Disney character.
That's right.
And they want to feed him and cuddle him, and bears are,
And they're very, I tell you what else.
Don't drink that out of Ed's or you'll...
If you'll notice,
that bear will hibernate for a year. He gets a slug of that.
Well, the other thing, you know...
That bear will go into camp. Hey, you got any food?
I got something over here for you, Ed. Wait a minute, here we go. Yeah, come here. Yeah, here. It's only iced tea.
Feed him out. Feed him out of this thing. What do we got here?
No, he likes this. I want to show you something.
That bear is hungry. When did you last feed this animal, Jim?
Here, hold that. Let him have that one, Johnny. I'll get him. Let him have that. Let him have it. I like it.
Jim was always interested in wildlife when he was a kid. He studied zoology in college, and he was also a star baseball player. He could have played for the Phillies or the Yankees, but turned them down to pursue a career as a naturalist. Jim Fowler was 89 years old. And that brings us to the end of another edition of the show. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter, at Multiverse Tom, and also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money, please visit mtpodcast.com to go to our Ko-fi or Patreon pages, as well as be sure to visit multiversetonight.com and check out our affiliate marketplace links, the link to our TeePublic store, always good deals there, our show notes, and so much more. And if you're a subscriber, please be sure to share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe and leave us with some feedback. And, just let us know how we're doing. I always want to know. Special thanks to Lobo Loco for our theme music. Now, thanks for watching Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our 1 year episode. Now, please exit the universe in orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions. All clips used in the show are the respective rights. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions. All clips used in the show belong to the companies that they belong to. We have no say on them. Copyright, and the Multiverse Tonight is copyright 2019. All rights reserved. Okay. Ending the recording. And ending the stream. I know I had no one on the stream, but still, it's always good to say good night, good luck. Join us next time.